Hey guys, the Commander Casual. I'm showing you a deck tech for my Thrasios and Tymna Millowfort deck. You heard right, I said mill. I think mill's a super fun mechanic in Commander. It's super janky, it's really hard to pull off, but when you do get that mill win, it's actually super satisfying. So we will be trying to mill out our opponents with this deck, but we do have a Lab Maniac just in case we need to mill out ourselves instead. And this is really handy when you hit your opponents have like Ulamogs, like the old Ulamog or the old Kozilek in their deck, and can shuffle their graveyard back into their library. Or they have like an Elixir of Immortality or something. So I'll start off with our land base. We've got all the triple color lands that are in these colors. So we've got Arcane Sanctum, we've got Opulent Palace, Sandstep Citadel, and Seaside Citadel. So it is a 4-color deck. Part of why we're running the commanders, the partner commanders, is so that we have access to all 4 of these colors, because they all have a purpose. We've got Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse just to help find some lands. We've got a bunch of basics of each. It's a lot heavier blue and a lot low white and black. We've got a Serra's Sanctum to benefit off of all of our enchantments, which I'll go into in a sec. I've got a Cabal Coffers that pairs really well with our Urborg, the Terramorphic Expanse I said earlier. We've got all the 2-colored temples that fit into this color slot. I really like the temples because I just find they're a lot cheaper way to fix for mana, and the scry can be super helpful early in game when you're looking for lands or looking for non-lands. And then we've also got a Temple of the False God. And other than that, we've got a Reliquary Tower for what I think are obvious reasons. We just don't want to have to discard cards if we draw a lot, which we will be drawing a lot. And then we've got an Exotic Orchard and a Command Tower. So that's our mana base. Pretty simple, pretty effective, honestly. Don't really have any issues with it. I like running a lot of basics because we have a lot of ramp. So we've got Rampant Growth, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Courser Crufix, Rites of the Flourishing are kind of ramp. They're not the search ramp that goes for basics, but they're still helpful. We've got an Explosive Vegetation and Hour of Promise. So Hour of Promise is great because it lets you look for non-basics. So we might not be running Cabal Coffers if we weren't running Hour of Promise, or vice versa, because the Hour of Promise lets us get Cabal Coffers and Urborg together, which is an absolutely fantastic combo. And if, for whatever reason, we have one of those cards already, we get the other card, and we can also get a Serra's Sanctum, which also taps for a ton of mana in this deck. And then as far as increasing how much our lands tap for, we've got a Zendikar Resurgent and a Mirari's Wake. So this deck does generate a lot of mana. We're running Thrasios as well, which also helps us ramp. If we have spare mana to pump into them, we can scry, and then this is more for drawing cards than it is for ramping. And we are running a Training Grounds just because it fits the enchantment theme of the deck, and it just makes Thrasios' ability that much more abusable. The reason we have these 2 commanders that are in these colors is because they both help us draw cards and just get card advantage, and they're really low cost, so they help us do that early. So Thrasios, we can just put tons of mana into him late game as well. So he's really helpful, but then Tymna's ability lets us attack with both of these guys to pay a little bit of life and draw extra cards, which can really be really helpful earlier in the game when people don't necessarily have a board state, or if one person doesn't have a board state, you can get in for a bit of damage and draw some extra cards. Again, they're more here just to give us access to the colors, but they are surprisingly useful, especially Thrasios in the late game, when we've got our Cabal Coffers and our Urborg or our Serra's Sanctum, or just a ton of land from all of our ramp. And Zendikar Resurgent and Mirari's Wake. So that's the explanation for the commanders. So let's get into the meat of the deck. Soul Ring, obvious commander staple. Actually, I'll go through the staples first. We got a Soul Ring, Cyclonic Rift. Actually, this deck's pretty devoted. We've got all the ramp. We've got a Regrowth, just to get something back from our graveyard. As Foretold, it's just a good enchantment that we put in here. You know, propaganda, heuristic study, kind of stuff like that, but I'll get through all the enchantments in a minute. Chromatic Lantern, just to help with color fixing. Got a Deep Analysis to draw some cards, which is again part of how the deck works as well. We've got an Utter End and an Anguished Unmaking, just for a little bit of single target removal. There's not a lot of removal in here because we're not really worried about a whole lot of stuff, but just having a little bit is nice. Bring to Light lets us tutor for stuff and just play it outright. We've got a Diabolic Tutor, we've got a Dark Petition as well, so we get to tutor up kind of more of our combo pieces or whatever we need to. Moral's Expertise lets us bounce some stuff and also pay something for free. And I think everything else is Mind's Dilation. It's a really good enchantment as well. Decree of Pain, Dusk Dawn, just because it serves as a good board wipe that doesn't kill our commanders, and a Wargate just to go search out a thing, but that's mostly for our combo pieces, which I'm about to explain. So, as I said, the point of the deck is to mill people out, but you might be looking at this and just seeing a lot of enchantments, and that's why I call it the Millowfort, is that it's a Pillow Fort style deck that grinds out a win with milling people out, and it does that with the main cards of, where's Sphinx's Tutelage? There it is. Sphinx's Tutelage and Jace's Erasure. And if you've watched some of my videos that are on my channel, you might find that I try and use those cards in my Argent the Shifting Flame deck, and they're a lot more useful in this deck. The other colors and the card draw and stuff like that are really strong in this. So in the other deck we get to mill all at once when we use Argent's ability. This is more of like a slow incremental. So we've just got tons of card draw effects, which really helps with card advantage. And then we just use all those card draw effects with these two cards and a little bit of other stuff to help mill out our opponents. Another one of the combos we're running in here is Tunnel Vision and Psychic Spiral. So you Tunnel Vision through your deck until you find your Psychic Spiral. You fill up your graveyard with a ton of stuff, and then you Psychic Spiral the next turn. You mill somebody out for however many cards are in your graveyard, which is now a lot from Tunnel Vision, hopefully, and whatever else has just been put in there throughout the game. And then you get to mill somebody for a ton and shuffle all your stuff back into your library, which is pretty strong. And then other than that, we've just got a lot of kind of enchantment support and card draw kind of stuff. So Sterling Grove, really obvious enchantment support. Muddle the Mixture to help us find either Sterling Grove or Jace's Erasure. Fog Bank just to help with the Pillow Fort thing, just to get some blockers on the ground. Greater Oromancy, again, gives us stuff. Shroud. Blind Obedience is just, the Extort's mostly just to help keep us alive even longer. If we're getting burnt out or something like that, the Extort actually gains you a ton of life. And slowing our opponents down as well with the Blind Obedience triggered effect, which makes everything come into the battlefield tapped, or not everything, but creatures and artifacts, which is actually huge. Aegis of the Gods gives us Hexproof and gives us another dude to attack and draw cards with Tymna. We've got lots of cards that make it really hard to attack us, so Ghostly Prison, Propaganda, Collective Restraint, Sphere of Safety. All of those are going to make it really hard for our opponents to attack us and incentivize them to attack other people. Got a copy enchantment, a copy like our Sphinx's Tutelage, hopefully, so that we can get milling faster. Drift of Phantasms to find our copy enchantment or our Sphinx's Tutelage. Lab Maniac, as I said, in case we need to mill ourselves as an alternate win con. Dictator Crucifix draws us more cards, draws our opponents more cards. In general, on both sides of that, helps us mill people out. Memory Erosion is another fun mill enchantment. It helps us get there. And then if we're really gunning for one person, Fraying Sanity really helps us annihilate one person and mill them out really fast if we've got some of our other mill pieces on the battlefield. Phyrexian draws us more cards. Enchantress Presence draws cards. Eidolon Blossoms cards. Abundance helps us find more specific cards because we don't really want lands late game. And then earlier in the game, I guess if we need lands, we can pick lands. Yeah, and then Bounty of Alexa, mana and land. So it's the rest of it's all kind of like just value stuff. Exquisite Blood is just in here because it's fun. There's a lot of just good enchantments that are in these colors, like the Bounty and the Exquisite Blood and stuff like that. But it's super fun. I've played it a couple times now, and we always one of the first gameplay video I'll be uploading, I literally just played, and we do very, very well. We don't quite get it, but we do very well, and the deck does exactly what it's supposed to do. So if you like the look of it, oh sorry, there's a little bit more. So we've got Decree of Pain, Wargate, Dust Dawn, I think I said. Mind's Dilation's just great for casting more spells and getting some stuff. Plea for Guidance, obvious tutor for enchantments, as well as our Enlightened tutor. And I think that's everything, except I don't think I said anything about Visions Beyond. So this is just an Ancestral Recall if we've been milling somebody out, or if it's just late game. Lots of people have fairly decent graveyards after about turn 9 or 10. And then we've got No Mercy and Lethal Vapors, just to help deal with our opponent's creatures as well. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. I will be posting a link to the deck list in this video as well, so check the description if you want to look at it more specifically instead of just in the MTG overview. All my stuff's on Tapped Out as well on my account there, which is the same. It's the Commander Casual. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you like deck tech. Subscribe if you want to see more either gameplay videos of this or gameplay videos or deck techs of my other decks as well. and have a good one.